Hey, Megamaniacs, this is Mr. MegaManFan, and growing up, I was a Commodore 64 kind of kid. Well, very early on, I was a Commodore VIC-20 kid, but that one didn't last too long before it got replaced by what you see in miniature form in this box here. And the sad truth of it is, I would still have that Commodore 64 today if it weren't for the fact that I thought it was going bad, and it turned out that it was a bad power supply, and I didn't know that at the time because I was not old enough or smart enough to realize that the power supply was the problem and not the computer itself. So eventually I got a Commodore 128 to replace it, which I still have to this day, but nostalgia for a Commodore 64 made me want this mini. And although it said $79.99 on the box, GameStop had marked them down to $29.99. So for the price, it wasn't going to cost me any more than the PS1 mini. So as you can see, if you wait long enough to buy some of these mini systems, they come way down in price at the end. So you got to take advantage of those deals. Be a little patient. There are so many different mini systems on the market anymore that if you bide your time, you can get a good deal and get yourself something like this for half the price or less. And this first part will be an unboxing of the C64 Mini, and the next part will be me actually hooking it up and trying it and showing you all how well it works, or perhaps doesn't. We'll just have to wait and see on that. But first, we have the actual C64 Mini itself. Isn't that just cute? It looks like a shrunk down version of the original. What did they call those things we had as a kid? Shrinky dinks? Where you'd make them and you put them in the oven and they'd shrink down into a little thing. It's kind of what this looks like. It looks like a shrinky dink Commodore 64 somebody put in the oven and shrink down the size. The keys don't work. That's okay though. I'm told that you can actually plug a USB keyboard in and it will work, so I think that's a workaround if you actually want to load in programs. I don't remember if you can load off of the USB, like if you can use that as a disk drive, but I would think it's at least a possibility that somebody either figured out a native way to do it or hacked an ingenious way to do it. It also comes with a USB joystick, which looks very much like the Bat Wico joystick that my Commodore 64 had when I was younger, so that was a good model of choice. Although I preferred the ergonomic grip Wico stick, and I still have two of those to this day. Like I said, I still have my Commodore 128 too, so didn't get rid of any of that stuff. Let's go ahead and dig through this box and see what else they included. There's a couple of flyers or manuals here in the bottom, kind of slip sliding around on the bottom of this box. And there's a couple of bags underneath the keyboard. So here's one of those flyers for Retro Reborn. It appears to be an online retro streaming service, but I think I have enough retro games that I don't really need that. And we have the quick startup guide for using the C64 Mini and the joystick. That's helpful, I suppose, but I imagine it's pretty plug and play. It probably doesn't need a whole lot of explanation. Here is an HDMI cable to hook up the Commodore 64 Mini with, and although there is no power brick, they did at least include a power cord, so I guess that's better than nothing. Still have to supply my own power though, that sucks, but I think I can just borrow one of my USB bricks from an iPhone, or the PlayStation Mini, or the Super Nintendo Mini, or the NES Mini. There's no shortage of minis around here that I can borrow a USB brick to run the power cord to. And that's everything. For 30 bucks, it's a pretty nice package. You get two cords, the power cord, the HDMI cord. You get the instruction manual. You get the C64 Mini itself. And you get the joystick. So I think that's pretty good value, especially given that you can spend $20 on a USB controller all by itself, and for only $10 more, you're getting an actual mini system with 64 games. So that's part one. This is Mr. Mega Man Fan, and next up in part 2, we test this sucker out.